Welcome back for Krater on Second Thought, and before we go anywhere, I am going to apologise, because it's totally my fault.
Yeah,
Honestly,
it is. All his fault.
It is. We recorded this yesterday, but I made a huge error, and so we had to redo it. It wasn't anything like that I said that was wrong, it was a case of I said something that we're not allowed to.
On the upside, because we had an extra day, we managed to sort out some proper prizes, so we can do a proper competition. Ha-ha!
Yeah, and also
So it all worked out well in the end.
On top of that, while we were recording last night, they patched a lot of the bugs that we were mentioning in the video.
That we were complaining about. So,
yeah, which it works out even better. Like, Fatshark now have released 2 patches in under a week. I think it's been out 3 days, and they've already released 2 patches.
Awesome. So they really are kind of staying on top of this, patching it and getting it going thing.
Yeah. I will try and put a link to the patch notes if I can find one. It mentions them in-game when you first load it up. So excellent. I believe they'll be somewhere. I will try and find them. Fluke sneakily typing away there. You guys could hear that as well. Like, his keyboard is loud enough, you can hear that.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
Frowning at you for that. So, go on then, Mr. Fluke. How was your experience with Krater when you first picked it up?
I like it. I like Krater. It's a lot of potential, and from what I've seen with the patches, some of the things I was saying in yesterday's version, which were, the only thing that remains to be seen really that will keep me playing this is whether developers stay on top of patching it, and already they've impressed me, so I can see the potential being reached with this. There's a lot of potential in there. The game engine seems nice and solid. There are a few quirks in it that they've patched a lot of those out just yesterday. I haven't had a chance to play it myself since the patch, so I'm not really sure about what of those glitches are going to still exist. The only really one I noticed was the click hitboxes. I think it was a resolution issue, but apparently that's been fixed, so...
There's a few. Okay, so the ones that I found, that I'm just going to mention now, were... The achievements were bugged on day 1. Achievements weren't registering, they've now been fixed.
Yep.
There was no sound options in the game, so you had to turn it down in the Windows mixer. That has now been fixed, and there's a sound settings menu option, so you can turn it down from in the game, and you can adjust both audio and music levels. There was the issue where full screen would go weird sometimes when tabbing, and thus you'd end up getting bars at the top and bottom of your screen, so you ended up in a pseudo window. That's now been fixed. The issue with button placements being slightly off has now been fixed. And there was another one that I'm trying to rack my brains for. There was issues with Windows mode. Switching back and forth would do things like mess with Fog of War. I believe that they still exist at the moment, or that was one of the ones that they're having trouble fixing, but they are fixing it. One of the other known issues that they brought in with this patch was if you change resolution, then you end up resetting Fog of War.
Yeah, that's...
But you're not really likely to change...
in and out of game or changing resolution. Yep.
You're not really likely to change a resolution in the middle of a dungeon unless that's a very rare case. And I know, I'm not giving any excuses for this at all.
They've fixed more than they've brought in, and for an indie developer to be turning out patches this quick, it's a very, very positive sign.
Oh yes, especially given that they're trying to keep to the whole we are going to do weekly updates thing. This is what they're basing themselves on, the concept of these weekly updates. And if they released 2 patches already, yes, you could argue the point that because the game is fresh, of course they're going to support it. There aren't many companies out there who launch a game out. Are you alright? Jeez. Try not to die on me, man.
Yeah, I've caught myself a cold.
Oh, behave. There's not many companies out there who instantly stop supporting a game once it's been released. Curse you, Marvel vs. Capcom 3. But there are quite a few companies out there that, a month down the line, they stop supporting it. That's a common occurrence. So It's really a case of watching and waiting to see.
Seems to happen more with the big commercial companies that will not hesitate to point out when they realise they haven't made as much of a profit that they'd like.
But indie guys can't risk it is the problem. I mean, look at Dungeon Defenders, for example. Dungeon Defenders has made them a ton of money because it's all paid for DLC. But they are still doing free weekly updates even with the paid DLC.
Yep.
And so that really helps them keep a fantastic image around their company. Like, the
game doesn't get stale.
Yeah, but also an indie company compared to like EA. EA have like millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of games out. I may be slightly exaggerating. And an indie company has like one. If they screw up their one game, gone. If EA mess up one game...
It's a tax write-off.
Yeah. It's like, whoops.
Just tell it like it is.
Don't worry, guys, we'll reboot it in a few years. No one will ever remember.
Yeah. So...
But the thing that I'm curious to know about from you is how you feel it shapes up compared to other games of this genre. I mean, the whole ARPG thing with Diablo and Torchlight.
I can see me playing it more than Diablo.
Ones.
I said that before and I'll say it again. It has more of an appeal to me. Sci-fi always has had more of an appeal to me than...
Yes, of course. I mean, that was one of the reasons we went and played SWTOR.
Yeah, because it was more sci-fi, as doomed as that was. BioWare doing an MMO. Oh well, it's nice to see
Back
them
on
try.
topic.
Yeah, that's a whole other
Kettle of
can
fish.
of worms right there. Yeah, I liked where it's going. I like the potential it's got. I like the feel it's got to it. The style of the comedy, the style of the artwork. It's not too serious. It's fun to play. But it does have a fairly kind of hardcore aspect to it. It's not just to sit down and mindlessly bash stuff like Diablo and there's, no consequences for anything. You guys get injured and will die permanently if you let them get injured enough.
I am now running around with 2 injuries. The footage that's being shown at the moment was done before we did the audio recording for this, and I died during it. And I'm still running with the same group of ragtag misfits. And one of them now has 2 permanent injuries, one of which is like 6% reduction to move speed.
Wow.
And these are permanent injuries. I mean, we'll get into discussing the features and stuff, but it's fantastic. Also, I've just been linked patch notes for today
What?
that were put in since I've done that footage.
What?
So in the last hour and a half, a newer build has gone out.
Okay.
Which fixes uncommon keyboard characters, a guy disappearing after wipes, and they added more epic weapons.
Awesome.
That's 3 patches in the space of about 3 days.
Crack on, lads.
One of which is just adding extra content.
I'm impressed. I really am impressed by these boys. And to be
Fatshark
fair,
are doing wonderful things in my
and
opinion.
just to jump sideways to the competition, because again, pointing out it's Fatshark being frankly awesome,
Really friendly
really,
and really nice.
really
And
doing
really
well as an
receptive.
indie company. Have been giving us a bunch of keys to give away. So we've actually got 5 copies of the game to give away, which we wouldn't have been
we'll
able to
come
stretch
back
to on our own. We were just thinking,
Well, we could have, but it would
have been a
cause
push.
issues, yeah.
Yeah, we were thinking,
We would have
give away
never
a couple
thought
of
of giving
copies
away
again.
5.
Especially
but anyway,
as
let's cover that at the end.
I'm excited about that. I'm really impressed
know
by
you
the
are.
guys.
I can
Just
hear
generally,
it in
these
your
guys have really impressed me.
So how
Start
do
to
you
finish.
feel? How do you feel it shapes up in comparison to Diablo? Let's pull out the big boy.
Well, there's no co-op multiplayer yet, but that's coming in early next month, I believe. It'll be
Yes.
in about
it's
about
July
3
10th.
weeks. About 3 weeks now. Off the top of my head.
It's
Can't
July
remember.
10th.
Okay, so it'd be interesting to see how the co-op works, because obviously Diablo and a lot of the others come with that straight out of the box. But
I'm
it's
curious
something
to
guessing they want to
see
get
what
right.
style the co-op is going to come in. Whether or not you're going to have your own bunch of guys, and then you'll end up with like 6 or 9 or 12 guys on the screen, or whether it's going to be limited to like 3-player co-op, and each person can bring a character.
Well, that depends if it's going to scale up the dungeons and all of the rest with the multiplayer. Because, that's fine. Everybody having 3 guys, provided
Well, even
they make
if
it
each
hard enough.
person brings only 1 guy, I'd love to see it scale even then, because you're going to have more
Control
tactical
over
control over the group.
Yeah. Everybody's going to be more efficient.
Yeah, by a long way as well.
I'll be very interested to see how well that works. But even on the single player level, just playing it on your own, it's a lot of fun. It feels, I don't know, like a cross between the original Fallout games and the original Syndicate game, if anybody's old enough to remember that.
It feels
The way
to
the squad
me,
control works felt quite like Syndicate.
well, some people have said it feels like a lot like Diablo in regards to button mashing, and some have been like, oh, it feels more like Baldur's Gate and all of this kind of stuff. And to all these people, I'm like, are you playing the same game as me? It's not a button masher.
No.
Combat is very tactical.
Yeah,
like,
the
if you're not
abilities
paying
that these
attention,
different classes
you're going
get.
to lose a guy, and I did. I lost a guy in the footage that people are watching at the moment.
Yeah,
because
lose a guy
I
and
took
it
my eye
very
off the ball for a
rapidly
second.
goes from bad to, oh crap, everybody's dead.
But my medic has to kite 2 bears, giving a fantastic spoiler of what's coming in this video, around a post for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, good luck at that.
Everyone else is injured. Everyone else is injured. Permanent injuries as well. And it's just like, well, I paid for it.
Yeah.
And, you know, I may end up losing one of those guys permanently, which means I'll lose the gear and the implants and the boosters they have.
Yeah, and then you can go and hire another guy.
Yeah, I can
sure,
hire another guy, but
he's
I've
going
lost
to be
whatever
lower
he
level.
was wearing. I mean,
You've
if I've
lost everything you invested in
levels
that
and
guy.
gear in that guy,
Yeah.
then... So, on the subject of levels and gear and everything, the implants and boosters system.
Yeah, I'm hoping they take the implant system a little deeper than what there already is in there. I must admit, I was hoping for a bit more along the lines of cross.
Deus Ex, I'm guessing.
Deus Ex is inevitable because it is the genre definer, pretty much,
But
as far as
implants,
this thing
yeah.
has got, as far as cybernetic implants and things go. But I was going to say something akin to, because how far. I don't know how grisly, I guess, you could make the game with the tongue-in-cheek post-apocalyptic. Something like Syndicate, a cross between Syndicate and Deus Ex. So if a guy gets a permanent injury, you might be able to use cybernetic replace. So if a guy gets a permanent injury in his leg, which causes your movement reduction, like what you've got, you could, with enough investment in the character, replace his legs with cybernetic limbs to not only negate, but counter to a degree and make him even faster or able to carry more or something like that, but it may require significant investment. But you'd have like leg slots rather than just a bunch of slots that all unlock as you level up, which is how it seems to be at the moment.
My
It'd
issue
require a
with
fair
the
revamp.
implant system at the moment is, to me, it feels just like a gear system. That's all it is
It's
at
just
the moment. It
pure
seems.
stat boosting gear at the moment.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. It's not very deep at all. I'm hoping they may push that
It's
a
just
bit
done
further.
in another way. It's the very simple and very standard idea of you equip gear to your character. I mean, taking Diablo is a good example of this. You don't get shoulders when you first start in Diablo.
Yeah, you gotta wait until you get a
Which
level
is
8 or
exactly
something.
like what this is. You'll open slots up as you get higher levels, so you'll get more.
Difference is
kind
these
of items.
cost money to equip and remove because you've got to operate to
Well,
do
yes,
it,
because they're implants.
and they're only small percentages. They work like implants in Eve. If
There's
anybody's
a
played Eve,
fan-
but you can't. You can pull them out and keep them again. I think.
The booster system I like the look of. It has a lot of potential for the future. There's some there already with the fact that you can, on your bruiser for example, you can equip healing boosters, so you'll heal when you cleave and stuff.
So they become like leech energy, life leech type abilities.
Yes, if you look at the wording on them, it says buffs or adds, like
Right.
5% healing.
I see. Yeah, so you can. Yeah, they're like talents, if you like, for.
Yeah, so it's essentially a talent system. And again, this is them just taking one of the systems that is already in this genre of game and just making it fit in this world, which is a
Yeah.
good thing. They're making it fit, and that feels fantastic. But at the end of the day, there is the negative point there, which is it is just a glorified talent system. However, again, flipping the coin once more, there is a lot more potential there than just a talent system, because if the slots are there, all they need to do is tweak the items that they put in the slots. Da-da.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, if you have the Dr. Cerebro character,
I haven't
which you
picked him up
get,
yet.
you get for pre-ordering, I think you got it for, and the collector's edition. You can buy him for, it's about 100 gold or 100 credits. And he has different skills from the other Medicus.
Ah, right. Okay.
Yeah, so they can put more people into the rosters with different skills, and then
Yeah.
you can go from there and you can just add, more people to the roster with more skills, different races with different skills, or slots even, and you can add different classes to the roster system, or just different abilities. And then you've also got the fact that you can add items to the implant system or the booster system, and suddenly you go from having a very simplistic, because it is at the moment, I'm not going to sugarcoat my words on that one. I'm not going to make it sound more amazing than it is. It is a very simplistic concept for the implants and booster system at the moment, but the potential, and given what they've currently done so far with the game,
and how fast they're turning around, patches. Yeah, I think it's definitely one to be playing and keep an eye on. I'm very impressed. I just can't say enough. And for what they're asking for it, what is it? 12? Was it 12 quid on Steam?
Yeah, £12.
12 quid on Steam. Seriously, if you haven't bought it, you want your head examining.
Only if you like ARPGs, though. I mean, there will be people who don't like it.
Once the multiplayer co-op's in there, I think it'd be fun just for, just for sit and play for a couple of hours, even if it's not really your thing. For 12 quid, just to sit and play with a few mates.
I'm very
for a couple of hours.
curious to see. The one thing that gets me is with weekly updates, and they've said that they're going to keep doing some endgame stuff. That's what I like. Because with ARPGs, yes, the leveling and the grinding is fun, but if you're just gearing up for the sake of gearing up when you are max level and there's nothing to do, then it's pointless. That's why things like Dungeon Defenders appeals to me, because there's so much end game stuff that you have to actually be at the top level to be able to do.
Yeah.
If Krater does that, if Krater keeps pushing out endgame stuff like big bosses that you can go and fight, or very hard areas, and just keeps pumping these out, even if it's like one a month, then bam, you're instantly going to keep an endgame community happy.
Yeah, you've just got to keep people with something to do, is it?
So how much experience have you had with the crafting system?
Not very much, I must admit.
So the crafting system, I've had a bit more of a play around with, and I love the fact that you can actually buy crafting recipes for other crafting items. So you have to like craft certain items rather than buy them if you want to, just to save money. And you can get some rarer ones that will give you like the blue components for crafting recipes. So you'll need crafting items to make the blue items to then put into the other pieces of gear, yeah?
Yeah.
And the crafting system itself starts really simple, but then moves on to being quite difficult.
Yeah, so you end up having to make components and make different tier.
But it gets better than that, right? So I was running around earlier today, and I think this might be in the video, I'm not sure. But I encounter a +2 booster. For strength, I think it is. But I encounter two varieties. A standard +2 booster, which gives +10. And then another one, which is a green one, which gives +12. And these are exactly the same recipe, just one is green and one is white. And the best thing about it is, if you want to make the green one, you require the white one. You essentially are taking the standard +2 booster and making it an enhanced +2 booster.
Yeah.
That's a fantastic idea.
I like that.
I thought that was really cool. I love the crafting system in this, and I can't wait to get into it.
Up to date, as it were.
Yeah. My only issue,
I can't like that.
I'm going to say this right now, my only issue at the moment is that I feel one of two things is wrong. I feel that either the valuable items, the trash items that you can get that you can sell for too many credits, or the injuries are too cheap to heal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it probably depends at what level, because you're playing in hardcore, so the items may sell for more in hardcore.
I doubt that, but anyway.
I'm not sure.
Give me your final thoughts, or give me your second thoughts.
I really like the game. Definitely one to be playing and one to be keeping an eye on. The dev team have impressed me with the rate they're turning out patches and repairing any issues that crop up. I think the potential will very likely be realised with this one, and it has an awful lot of potential.
I can see a lot of potential for the future for endgame, for support, as long as they keep their promise true and make it so that they do keep putting out patches frequently. Once a week is fine. Weekly updates is awesome. I can really see that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so should we get onto this competition?
Yep.
This wonderful giveaway. So we have 5 copies of Krater to give away, 4 regular and 1 collector's edition. So we're going to give 1 main prize of the collector's edition, which features the soundtrack and I think the Cerebro package as well. And then 4 regular copies. And to enter this, it's really nice and simple. All you do is you come along to our comment section and you type in the team name for your group of 3 guys in a post-apocalyptic future. It doesn't have to be Swedish themed. It can be anything you want. Just you have to think of a team name.
The best ones will be
for your guys. Yeah.
What was the suggestion we had?
The two that we had. The one that I came up with, which was Marty and the Mutants.
Oh, I like the vent suggestion, which was Bjorn again.
No, it's Bjorn to be wild.
Oh, Bjorn to be wild.
There we go. Bjorn to be wild was the suggestion we had. Because we had to run this past some people to see if like they could think of something so that we could get a decent competition. So there you go.
Yeah.
Come along, drop a comment down below, put your team name. You have a chance of winning one of five. Thank you very much, Fatshark, prizes. So, with all that being said, and you're about to die by the sounds of things.
Yeah.
If you have any
Choking to
questions,
death,
queries,
yeah.
or comments, leave them down below. And from myself and Fluke, we will see you for the next video. Peace.
In a while.